Unmute. That works. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Good evening and welcome to Sidetrack Sunday number 3 for the month of September. It should be there now. It better be there now. It better be there now. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that, John. It helps to unmute. Okay, back to it. All right. So, welcome to Sidetrack Sunday number 3 for the month of September. Normally, this would be Jason's night, but Jason and I flip flopped, and I'm trying to fix. There we go. That's a little bit better. Um, I'm gonna start here for a second, folks. I've got something that I need to do here, so give me a second. Let me get it back up. This week, actually on the 14th of September, I lost a shipmate, and a mentor. To be perfectly honest, I found out about this via Facebook. Hopefully the screen share is going to work. There we go. So before I get too much further, I'm going to have a quick moment of silence for. I knew him as Petty Officer Bunch. Like I said, he really did a lot for me the few years that I knew him, and I unfortunately hadn't talked to him much in the last 30 years, although we did catch back up on Facebook a couple years ago and we did have our chats back and forth. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and just take a moment here, and I appreciate it. All right, folks, back at it. Let's get on to bigger and better things, I guess. I'll go ahead and stop that. And that's the reason why I'm wearing my ship hat instead of the normal railroad hat tonight. Yeah, he was a heck of a friend and a heck of a shipmate. Long story. We had just finished up in the yards, and a couple months, actually it was probably about 6 months out, and the system that I was in charge of doing all the preventive maintenance on had all of a sudden stopped working. And I actually sat there and flipped through it, found the tech manual for it and flipped through it and figured out what the issue was. And he was the lead petty officer for the division that night, or that afternoon. And I went down and I told him, I said, hey, Paul, I says, I've got an issue with the system upstairs. I said, I've found the problem. I said, do you know where we keep these cards? He's like, what cards? I said, the memory cards. I said, it's got a bad memory chip. How do you know it's going to be a memory chip? I said, I read the manual. He said, you did what? I said, I read the manual. So he's like, you got to show me. So we go back up to the sonar shack from the crew lounge, and I pulled out. I had the book sitting there, turned to the page, and I said, yeah. So they're telling me that this slot, this position. I said, the card's bad. You read the manual. Yeah, I read the manual. Come with me. So we go down to the cryptology or the radar, the radio room, and we knock on the door, and the guy comes out and says, "Can I help you?" And we need this. He's like, "Oh, okay." And he comes back out and said, "Here's the new one." He says, "I'll take this one and put it off to the side." He said, "We'll ship it back and have them, get another one to replace it." And we're like, "All right." So we go back up, and I open up the drawer and I put the new memory card in, turn the machine on, and it starts working. So the next day, after we had our muster, um, the chief said to me, he says, "Come here a minute." He says, "The petty officer Bunch says he's got something he wants to talk about. We're going to go down to the chief's mess." And I'm like, "Oh, geez, come on, really?" So we go down, and he said he starts telling him the story, and he looks at me. He says, Is this true?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I pulled out the manual and read it and figured out where the problem was." Okay. And of course, the next thing I know, like a day or two later, I get called down to the personnel office, and there was a thing that they had put into my uh, into my uh, I don't know what you want to call it anymore, into my report, my personnel file, that I had gone through and done that, and they had given me accommodation for it. It's like, I did my job. That's all I did. I read the book. What do you want? So, but yeah, that was, that was his thing, and I'd always looked up to him for that. And like I said, he was a good guy. He will be missed, but rest in peace, Paul. Thank you very much, sir. Um, On to some other news. Yeah, the books work exactly, Rick. I mean, it took you right to it. That was the tech manual. It was back in the appendix area, and went ahead and looked it up and went, "Oh yeah, it's this, and this." And I had no idea where we kept the spare parts. Ha ha ha, Sparky. Hey, I am a product of public education. So, on to some other news. I know that there were probably some folks that were wondering or were looking that, tonight was going to be the 500 subscriber contest. Well, no. Um, Let me fill you in on what's been going on. Obviously, between that this week, we are now in our second week of bowling. That's my other hobby. Most of you that follow me know about that. Um, we last week or last Friday, not this Friday, but the Friday before last, I was still at the bowling alley until quarter to 12 Friday night trying to get everything straightened out with them. That was after the day before having 16 windows replaced in the house. So needless to say, I have been personally and work wise very busy. Work has been ridiculous. Um, it has been an absolute nightmare the last few weeks. Um, so I just haven't had chance to go through and get everything set up for it. I haven't forgotten about it. I haven't forgotten about you all. It's going to have to happen next month. The other thing, the other monkey wrench in this whole works was the fact that Jason and I ended up switching weekends because of the fact that next weekend I'm going to be away. So it worked out good for me. It worked out good for him. So I'm actually doing this a week earlier than I had planned. So with that being said, things have gotten, like I said, just gotten out of hand, and this hat is going to drive me, as much as I want to wear it. It just doesn't work with the headset. There we go. That's better. All right. I tell you what, folks, if there was some of these, I see a couple people in here that were saying that they like to bowl. Well, I wish you all were a little bit closer because I got a team that needs people. Let me see. You know what? I forgot one very important thing, and that is the fact that I don't have YouTube up, so I have no idea who is here. Let's go over to the stream and hope the heck that I mute it before it goes live here a second. Hold on. And it's thinking about it. Yeah. It's constantly thinking about it. So anyway, chat amongst yourselves for a moment while I figure out exactly where it is I need to go to see my stream. Yeah, and that's the other thing, folks. That's a good. I just saw something from the rest of the sidetracks on the gang, and that's the fact that there are actually 5 weekends in September or in October, which means that all five of us will have a show next month. Yeehaw! Woohoo! Can't get enough of us. Yeah, you're gonna get all five of us next month. Which will bring me to something else. But let me get this. Let me get into this thing here so I can. I wasn't thinking about it. I actually had this up on my laptop at one point, and I heard that everything was working, so I went ahead and I shut that stream down. So, yeah, that wasn't a smart move. Let's see here. Let's go over to this and see if we can actually get it to upload, or at least load. I didn't want you to do it in Creator. Come on. It's typical Sidetrack Sunday stuff here. There it is. That's what we want. And we can get rid of that. And we can get rid of that. And I'm going to mute. I kind of figured that was the easier way to do it, is just to go ahead and mute the mic for a moment while I'm doing this. And of course, now it's froze. Hey, there it goes. So, who all do we have floating around in the chat tonight? Let's see here. We've got Mr. Almar. We've got we've got Opa Dodge, Anthony Dodge, the model train outsider. Artie from All's America Model Railroading is here. Roy Containerman 68 is here. CP 368 Productions is here. Sean from Dackman Productions is in the house. Derail Daryl is here. Try and say that 2 times fast, Ray. Come on, get your tongue straightened out. Derek Alexander is in the house. James Galton from the Dundas Junction Model Railroad is here. Rick Bailey from the Foltz Bailey Model Railroad is here, and one of the sidetracks on the gang. Fred Wild is here. Grandpa Rails is in the house. Hillbilly Railroad is here. Joe Rader from the Black Rock Central is in the house. John Knopfel is here. Dwight from the Curly Express is here. Kyle Stevens. Ian from the Lehigh River Subdivision is here. Low Country Railroad is in the house. Lynn McCurdy in the HDM MRC is here. Marquis Saunders is in the house. Mr. Jimbo Trains is here. NS 5107, aka Chazco, is in the house. Off the Rails is here. Randall Ellison is here. Ray Boble is here. I'm not too sure if I am or not. Anyway, Roy Eltham is in the house. Schuylkill River Valley John number 2 is in the house. Another one of the Sidetrack Sunday members. Sean McGee is here. Sparky 107 is in the house. Split Rock is here. Trackside Mike is here. And Wig Wag Workshop W3 is in the house. Hopefully I did not miss anybody. If I did, I'm sorry. And yeah, there's no Heath. Well, we haven't had any technical issues yet. So yeah, that's a good thing. Oh, I'm terrible. I know Jason's not here. He just put something up. I'll respond to that later. Okay, so back to the fun. Let's see. No, Container Man, it wasn't. It was actually in English, and it was actually who was the manufacturer of that system? I want to say it was Raytheon. This was back in 91, 90, 91. So, yeah. Anyway, oh, did Heath just pop in? Santa Fe Bob is here. I'm sorry, Santa Fe Bob. I know you were in here earlier. John B is here. Let's see. Did Heath? Yep. Heath is here. He has glue on his hands. I don't want to know. Yeah. uh, yeah, Jason had just put something up in the Sidetrack Sunday chat, and I think he's a little bit confused. We're only swapping this month. I was trying to explain because he thought that I was going to do STS the 15th and 16th, which I'm going to get to in a second. I am not doing the STS that weekend. That weekend is the Timonium Train Show. That is Jason's weekend to do it. So that works out well for me. I don't want to know what he's trying to glue. I really don't think we want to know that. You know what? I've got a camera set up here, and I wanted to. There we go. Let me go ahead and transition this a minute. I went ahead and set up the extra cameras again. I went ahead and actually got a 30-foot USB cord, and I've now got both cameras. And I know the one on the left here, the lower left of the screen, is a little dark. That is actually looking at underneath of the Beauville station, which I obviously haven't lit up yet because I haven't gotten that far. There was there was a little bit of an issue with the when I was doing the scenery up on top, and you know, I've got to go back, and I'm going to be talking about that here probably shortly. Randall Ellison, I'll be back later. My pizza is done. Okay, sounds good, Randall. Fred, I was just made aware of that, folks. Folks in the chat. Real quick. I want to explain something. Like I just said a little bit ago, I have been. Hey, Brian Rock Rail fans in the house. Can Boost 121 is here as well. Train fan 120 is in the house. I have been extremely busy, both like I said personally and at work. I have not been able to get into live streams. I haven't really even had a chance to go back and look at videos, updates from anybody for like the last 2 weeks. Minimal the last 2 weeks. It's probably been a little bit longer than that. I actually did manage to make it into Anthony Dodge's live stream Friday afternoon right before I went to bowling, but that's the only one that I've been able to make it into. I would like to get out to Colorado next year, but we'll have to see. And yes, Split Rock, it is a powered cord. It is a powered USB or an active USB. I've actually got two of them. I've actually got a 30-footer that leaves the computer that heads over to the layout. And then if you look over top, let me go ahead and bring that one camera up a little bit bigger here a minute. If you look on the left, you'll see that there's another USB and it's kind of strung across the backdrop bracing. That's the other cord that is leaving a powered hub to feed the camera that's over by Newton's farm, and then the other camera is, like I said, right now the 920 is actually looking at underneath a Bowville. And like I said, I've got to work on getting some better lighting. Right now, that's just the ring light with the C920, and it's a little dark over there. So I'll see if I can't work out something a little bit more. I was literally playing with this about 10 minutes before the stream started. So, I really didn't get a chance to mess with it. And I've got somebody to beat down the basement door. You never know. Yeah, I've got to make sure one of these days. I got to make sure I lock that thing. Yeah, there's a stranger in the basement, and they don't come much stranger than this guy. But let me go ahead and bring up a partner in crime here. What's going on, Rodney? Long time, buddy.
Can you see me? Number one.
Yeah, we can see you.
So you can hear me, you can see me, and
yep, we got you.
Because I have not did this for what over a year. I got wires strung everywhere because this was the last 15 minutes before you even went live. So I just started plugging stuff in and trying out my new ring light. It's just a small thing, but it's good enough for that camera like you and me has.
Yep. Now yep, that works. That works.
You can put it on a tripod and all that, but it came with this neat little clamp doohickey, so I got it clamped to the phone holder.
That's kind of, well, actually mine, you can't even really see either one of them. One of the Lenovo, which is the bottom, the camera right below me, that's the Lenovo 510, I think it is. That one's actually on my normal vlog, and there goes Emma.
Dog bombed already.
So the camera that's below me, that's the Lenovo. That's actually on the rolling tripod that I use for the vlogs, and the C920 is actually sitting on the other tripod that I've been using for when I do the shorts. Hey, good evening, Anthony from the Georgia Sunbelt. Grandpa Rails is in the house. I missed him too. Sorry, JD.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody. I didn't get to say hi to you yet. So hello, everyone. As my normal. Is that going to be okay if I put it there? Try to get it off the camera, maybe. Try to. I was going to
say that actually works out better. That gives you a little bit more light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the ceiling light ain't working tonight. I think it's the humidity and everything, because it's a fluorescent bulb deal.
Gotcha.
And the starters eventually go on them. So.
Oh, Lynn, man, that's a long trip.
But here, wow. I wanted to show you this. This is my homemade phone holder.
Well, that works.
This part came from Amazon. This is off an old lamp base. Like a desk light.
Yep.
Well, the desk light it had a plug from another country on it, because I got it from the school that I used to work, the private school I used to work at. And they leave a bunch of stuff behind during the summer. So I picked it up and I thought, well, I'll keep the base because it's pretty heavy. I mean,
right.
That's not gonna flip anything.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest issues with the cameras and all, is finding something that's going to give you a halfway steady base.
Right. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sean was asking, where the heck you been hiding?
Well, I've been pretty busy.
Yeah.
Between life getting in the way, racing, trying to get to my train layout, which hasn't been very much all summer, unless it's a rainy day or something that I can't do something else. But
It
helping
was.
mom because she retired. So
Yeah, that was the thing. You texted me earlier. I was in the middle of painting my garage door.
and I'm like, he's painting his garage again. I thought he already would have did that.
No, I didn't. I haven't. No, that's the first time I've touched a garage door. So
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, that we had just gotten the new windows, and of course, after we got the windows, the wife looked at me and she said, "You know what? We need to repaint that garage door." I'm like, okay. So I went ahead and repainted it. Now, there was a question in the chat that I missed, and I think it was, I forgot who mentioned it now. They were asking how many vendors are going to be at the train show in October. I'm glad you brought that up.
quite a lot.
Yeah, because yeah, I'm going to see if I can pull it up on here. Let's see. BSMTS.
Oh, there we are. Okay. I just made our pictures bigger. Got that fixed. Hey, you was just this little tiny thing beside me. I'm like, well, I can't even see them.
All right, so here is the link to the Timonium Train Show. They have had a lot of vendors. I don't know how many they're planning on. Normally, it tells you on the front page how many they're expecting. But it really doesn't tell you this time around. I know the one time there was like 100 and some odd. And it's not just the normal your normal vendors, your big vendors. It's also the folks that they've got, they run a table and they've got stuff, and you can get some pretty good deals. And in fact, that's where I picked up. If you all remember, I picked up that the Kraus Maffei ML4000. I picked that up last year, or actually earlier this year at the Spring Train Show. But yeah, I mean it's a big show. This one is, like I said, this one here is usually it is extremely large. They don't tell you how many people are going to be there, and they don't tell you this time around how many of the clubs are going to be there. But I know that there's going to be quite a few. In fact, I was talking to somebody else not that long ago, and they said that their club, which is the FCSME, that's the Four County Society. No, I'm sorry, not the. Was it the Four County? No. It wasn't the Four County. It was the Gosh darn it! I know the FCSME is usually there. There's the American Flyer, Baltimore American Flyer folks that are there. Rail artist, that is Hot Rod Rodney. Hot Rod Rodney 25. He actually lives, what is it, 2 hours west of me?
Something like that, because Baltimore's like 85 miles or something like that. Hour
Okay.
and a half, 2
Yeah.
hour 45 minutes, something like that. All depending on traffic.
So him and I have been talking quite a bit, because he's been hitting me up about, and of course I haven't had a chance to talk about. I haven't been able to get in touch with you about your railroad.
I know. I blow his phone up almost every day. He's probably like, I'm at work, man. Leave me alone.
There's been a couple of days where I'm sitting there and I'm in the meeting, and all of a sudden the phone goes off. I'm like, dang it, not now. I'll talk to you later. And then, of course, I forget about it. And then by the time I do remember it, it's 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'm beat. I'm done. It's a shame, because here it is. You've been trying to get a hold of me. Apparently, Artie's been trying to get a hold of me. It's like, come on, really? It's like everybody. I'm a wanted man. Everybody needs me for something. But anyway, uh, anyway, so yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the 15th and 16th. Like I said, I had talked about. Yeah, the layout. It should be there in the late next week. Really? Wow. They get there that early? I didn't realize they started setting. I figured they would set up on like Thursday or Friday before the show. I didn't realize they came that early, Joe. Joe's kind of got insider information. A buddy of his has a table there every show, so he knows what's there. Um, there was something. There was some. Hey, DB Tech is here. No, on the page. Okay. See, Joe, you've had. I just pulled it up for like the third time, and that in like the past 6 months. But yeah, there are a bunch of us that are, and I think Rodney was even is going to try and make his way back over here for the train show as well. But the 15th and 16th, the 15th, I'm going to be at the show. I know that there are a bunch of folks that are trying to get over here for the train show on Saturday, and then Sunday. The plan is I know that I don't know 100% what the interest is. I would like to go down to the B&O Railroad Museum. I haven't been down there in years. I would like to make the streetcar museum as well, but I don't think we can do both in the same day, unfortunately. So I'm thinking I'm going to lean more towards the going. That was good. Tying myself up in the cords over here. I'm
I'm not even going to comment on that one. I've got cords all over me. I've got a cord over here on my shoulder that's just as annoying.
Oh, but yeah. We're going to do the train show on Saturday and then do the B&O Railroad Museum on Sunday. So that's the plan. Well, if you're coming down, Heath, you've got no issue, no choice because I'm the chauffeur, apparently. Which I don't have a problem with. And you and I still need to hook up and figure out what's going on for that weekend too, bud. Sorry, peeps, I have to miss the show. Someone gave me the wrong lotto numbers again. I hate when that happens. I haven't had any luck with it either. Joe's going to be working both days. All right. 3 tables. Wow.
Got to put money away to play.
Wow, Joe. You getting rid of some stuff too? Or is that all your buddy? Split Rocket is 2 days. Normally I would go both days, but like I said, with a bunch of us trying to meet up, I decided, you know what, we'll do the train show one day, and then we'll go down to the B&O Railroad Museum another day. Or actually, the train show on Saturday, B&O on Sunday. So, expect you to be wearing the proper hat. I guess this one won't work, huh?
Well, if you find me in a racing hat, you'll know who I am.
Right.
Because I don't have too many railroad hats that I'm aware of. For some reason, I never owned many railroad hats. Got shirts and a hoodie, but
apparently Anthony's been answering some stuff for Split Rock too. I'm not sure what Split Rock asked. I'm sorry if I missed it.
Yeah, I only have the chat on the phone, so.
No, I've got it up on the. I've got it up on the computer.
Well, I can put it on the computer, but then it makes you real.
Have to.
But then the ring light's also in my view of it. So
Oh, that's right. I did do that. Never mind. Oh man, I'm goofing myself up here, folks. Sorry. Okie dokie. So Sparky is saying he's going to be in Scranton the weekend before, so he's going to have to miss this one. All right. I know that Dave from the Crooked River and Eastern isn't going to be able to make it down either. Apparently, that's got something to do with his anniversary weekend or something. So, yeah.
Scranton, really? You're
Scranton.
coming? You're coming back to, or is that
Scranton's that one that we went to back in
right
2019. Yeah.
up above Harrisburg?
Yeah, way up
way
above.
up, yeah, towards New York and all them places.
Sean McGee, Timonium is in Maryland. It's in Baltimore County. Um, it is about 10 minutes away from me. If that depends on traffic and the traffic lights, which I always seem to catch red. So, like I said, I did put up a link if you want to check it out. Here we go.
It's known as the Maryland State Fairgrounds, or
yep, it's the Maryland State Fairgrounds, which just ended. It literally a week ago that just ended.
It's like the biggest fairgrounds in whole Maryland, I think.
Yeah, it is. Wigwag's going back to that Heath. Chauffeur hat, black suit, red tie, white shirt. No, I'm sorry, I don't dress up like a penguin. Yeah, it's about 20 minutes. It's about 20 minutes north of Baltimore City. DB Tech, I don't plan to go to Timonium, but I've been to Bernie's train show, Holiday, Scranton. Okay. There's somebody else that's headed back up to Scranton. Let's see. And Anthony Dodge, the Opa Dodge, is actually headed to a train show next weekend. Well, not next weekend, the weekend after. Nice. Opa Dodge, you're still able to drag her along? she still goes to train shows with you? Oh, I know. I'm terrible. Rail Artist is saying he's been to the train show. He worked when he quote unquote worked for LBF Models. Okay. Well, tell us how you really feel. Wigwag is asking Heath if he finally got his fingers unglued. John Knopfler's never been to a train show. Wow. John, where are you located, bud? Let's see. Heath is talking, still saying hello. John Arthur's in the house. Welcome in. That's where I was kind of headed with that one, Heath. This would be a good one. Let's see. Bernie's train show is October the 9th. That's what Sparky's saying. And if nobody caught it before, apparently Sparky's got something set up for the 19th through the 21st of May next year up in Colorado, Greeley. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that one or not. I've got to talk to the wife because we've actually got something coming up in January. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do two.
I don't think I'll be able to.
Yeah, to do big trips in 1 year. Rodney, Roy saying, put the ring light over your head like a halo. Don't tempt him; he'll do it. Hi, John Benaki. Oh boy, let's see. You just get a helicopter to bypass the red lights of the traffic. Yeah, don't I wish? What was a huge mistake? I should not have done that. Okay, well, I'm not sure what that was. Heath, I know that that Rodney said he was going to try and make it back over this way. I think that's still the plan because you wanted to pick up that other 4x8 that I got sitting down here. The
Yeah,
only thing we got to do is figure out how we're going to get it in your vehicle.
yeah. I'm gonna turn that off because that thing's annoying. I can't see nothing.
uh, oh, geez. Where police officers had to drive Heath around. Well, the thing of it is since I've got a fire engine red truck, I actually could dress up as a fireman. You know, put some lights on it. We'll be good. Oh, geez. What shows are those? I'm not sure what Fred and Rail Artist are. Hey, late night model railroading is in the house. I only put on a penguin suit if somebody pays me. Oh boy. Hope you all check a certain paper company out in Scranton. Okay. Let's see here. When is Scranton? Ian's asking. I think that's the 9th, Ian. I think, no, wait a minute. Sparky or somebody can go ahead and. That's probably more like it, Artie. Oh, trust me. The wife went with me to a train show one time, and I thought for sure I wasn't going to have my wallet before it was all said and done.
Now you know why I go alone.
Scranton is October the 9th. There you go, Ian. Okay, there you go. She wants a getaway weekend with a jacuzzi. So it's a trait. Oh, there you go. Wine and dine. That works. I got you. It's funny how that works. John Arthur, they make Sherman paper not far from Scranton. Okay, yeah, all right.
Should I lift my feet now?
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Lift them ahead of time. I'll be ahead of everybody. We're making Sorman there.
Oh, hey, Ron from Classic Model Trains is in the house. Welcome in, sir. Good to see you. Kyle Stevens is in the house. I think I didn't catch him earlier. Sorry.
And I want to apologize to anybody that I might not know in here because it's been a while.
That was one of the things when you texted me earlier. I was like, you know what? Let me see if Rodney would want to come up and chat for a bit because it's been a while since he's been in here.
I mean, I've been on and off live streams, when I get a chance, but I just been busy helping mom and doing the race car stuff, and
that'll happen on Halloween. I'll have to I'm going to break out the costume again. even though it's not my week, but hey, need the whole basement to model it. Not quite sure. Oh yeah, I guess they were talking about the paper factory.
Just put a couple rolls of toilet paper on top of one another. Put Charmin across it.
Ray at the Golden Leaf. Welcome in, sir. Great name. Is there anything I'm looking for specific? Actually, there is a couple of things I'm going to be looking for at this train show. Anybody that's followed me over the last month or so knows that I have an issue with a set of Rossi passenger cars that I picked up. I don't know. Gosh, I guess it's been about 10 years ago now. I went to change the couplers from the McHenry couplers over to Katie's, and I'm not happy with how they're set up. And those cars have always been a bit of a pain in the butt to begin with. So I decided that I was going to replace that set of cars. And I actually had a bead on a set. I guess it was about a month ago. Somebody got a heck of a deal. They paid a little bit more for them than what I was willing to pay, and I let them go. But that might be something that I'm looking for, and there's a few other things that I'm looking for too, and that may end up coming up on the show in October as well. So I will tell you all right now, you're going to want to keep your eyes open for that October show of mine, which will be the fourth Sunday of October. Because there's going to be, obviously, by that time, hopefully I'll have everything together. We can get the 500 subscriber contest out of the way, which has been an absolute disaster since the day I said I was going to do it, which was back in May. But, yeah, so there'll be the 500 I can't talk tonight. The 500 subscriber contest, and there may be something else along with that show, so keep your eyes open for that. Let's see. Rodney's the new guy.
I feel like it.
Sometimes I feel like the new guy here lately because, like I said, I haven't been able to hit a live. I haven't hit a live stream until Opa Dodges Friday afternoon. I hadn't hit a live stream in probably a month. And as far as being able to watch uploads that people were putting up, I haven't been doing much of that either because of the fact that, well, my wife went back to work, which is nice. She's bringing in some extra cash, but her schedule and my schedule are a little different, and it's like the time that I used to go upstairs to watch the streams or the uploads on the TV upstairs, that's when she's going to bed because she's going to get up at 5 a.m. So it's like, yeah, I don't get the time to do what I want to, and I still want to try and get work done down here. So there is that balance. And unfortunately for me right now, everything is just way out of balance. Tina A is in the house. And I am way behind on chat. I know it. Let's see who else is here. Derek Alexander is here. Oh man, My Life's Tracks is in the house. Let's see who else has popped in. These parts for the Frankenstein. No, and actually, Sparky, it's funny that you should mention that. I know I keep talking about it, but there is going to be a vlog coming up on that. So hang tight. That is coming. Oh, good, Ray. You're still ahead of schedule in Australia.
He's actually going to hook up 12 bolts and go. He's going to throw the switch.
Yeah, I know, Derek. I'm at 542. That I actually hit 500. What was it, back in June? And then I opened up the subscriber contest in August, and I said I was going to do the drawing in September. Well, that isn't happening. Ron Millen's in the house. Welcome in. You know what, Ron? I was sitting there looking at it going, you know what? I need to get this 500 subscribe contest out of the way because 600's right around the corner.
Yeah, it's amazing. After you try to have one, it's like the next one is right at the tip of when you're doing the one you're working on.
So, folks, we know now why our view ratings are down. It's all Ray Bogle's fault. Yeah, probably. And as you know, Artie, I haven't even been able to make yours. And I know there was once or twice he actually sent me links to it. I haven't been able to get in. I've been just that dang busy. I mean, it's been ridiculous.
Well, I'm surprised you got 60 people tonight. This hot rod character's here.
Well, you know,
I don't even get that many from mine. What I was doing.
Oh goodness.
Mine might have went to 15, 16, and that was it. Or that it was a big thing that night.
So anyway, Rodney, you're I know you've been working on trying to come up with a plan to be able to. I know at one point you were trying to integrate your dad's layout with an HO layout, and then trying to figure out some way to get. I don't even know where you're at with it anymore because I
Well,
haven't been able to catch up with it.
Dad's trains is basically staying like they are because
Right,
his is up on shelves around the shed. We actually put up shelf board and brackets, and his just basically runs in big long circles with a couple switches on the one,
right,
which is a Berkshire because that was his favorite big engine.
right.
But for mine, I basically got the whole entire bottom platform.
Hmm.
And for everybody that don't know, it's built like they did back in, I guess, want to say the 40s and 50s and 60s, where it was one of them. You just went on one side or two sides of it, or you cr- did one of those deals where you crawl up on it to get to something. Well,
Right.
that's how this was made. That
Hmm.
it was made to walk all over to get up to the upper shelves. So basically, I got to build it to where his is running real good and everything. So when I build mine, I got to make it so I at least have some kind of spots to walk over mine so I don't, you know, have everything flying everywhere. But I'm planning on having a lot of extra sidings hid where I can shove everything out of the way, that way I don't have to take a bunch of stuff off all the time.
Right.
Because
Right.
I'm thinking doing something similar to what you're doing in your um north south yard area, your Richmond and Harrisburg. I'm thinking about figuring out how to either put a shelf system in or an old dresser or something where I can put the stuff in the drawers when I do, you know, my building of the trains and departure and all that stuff. So
Gotcha. Gotcha.
so I mean, right now the whole shed is just basically, you know, layout, except for the back part where you got to take a creeper and go underneath to come up in what Dad and I always called the hidden cave area. Because you don't see that part with because of mountains and backdrops and all that good
Gotcha.
stuff. So there is a hidden spot back there where my train will be climbing up a incline decline and coming around on a 4 inch high section, which might even be where I have extra tracks where I can stage trains for the arrival and departure, and they'll be able to come down to the north, south, or east, west, whichever directions I make it to those 1 or 2 yards, and do the switching down there. So, I mean that's also crossed my mind. Have that extra piece 4 inches up above everything
Right. Right.
at another location, and that way it keeps it up off of everything else.
That lower the lower. I did it again. The lower left camera. That's what that is. The city of Beauville is actually 4 inches over top of the main line and the passenger tracks underneath. It's a
Right.
bit tight, you can't get in there to do anything.
Right.
Um,
You gotta lift that.
you're going to have to lift everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. If I got to
Yeah.
get in there to fix something, I've got to lift everything up, which caused another issue. And I kind of talked about it in a vlog. I think it was one or two back with the backdrop, because the one board and the board that we're actually looking at actually goes under the backdrop. So I have to make the backdrop removable to be able to get the get that section out of there. So yeah,
I've been in that situation before.
yeah, it's like I wasn't planning on that part of it. Oops. So, and of course the easy thing would be just to go ahead and cut the board down and go, okay, great, zip, done. The problem with that is then you're trying to re-brace everything back, because I got the bracing all set up for that, and it's
Right.
you're reinventing the wheel at that point. It's like, yeah, it's going to be easier just to make it to where the backdrop's removable and then just slide that board out of there and then we're done. But yeah.
I've got so many ideas circulating. I'll have like I'll start one on any rail 6, and then I start coming up with all these ideas, and I'm like, well, how am I going to put it into this, you know, drawing, because I'm already got that section, build on there.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, and I'm trying to do what you suggested the one time on text message. Try to do my main lines first, and make them solid, and then come back and chop my sections out to put the switches in and that kind of stuff. And that gives you, or gives me, a feel of what to do next, I guess you
Right.
want to say.
Right. And that's kind of what I did with this one here. I came up with a basic idea just for the main lines. I wasn't worried about the yards and the sidings and all that other stuff. I went ahead and laid all the main line down. And then after that was down, and then I started going back and putting in, and if you remember that the camera below me that's pointed at Weichert Industrial went through about 15 iterations before I finally got something that I was happy with. It was just one of those things, just messing around with it. And I mean, and don't get me wrong, folks, these programs that are out there, they're wonderful. Until you actually get it blown up from what you see on your screen to making it real life, you have no idea if what's on that screen is actually going to fit, if it's actually going to work right. And I
Right.
ran into that issue with the connecting piece, what I call the bridge, that 15-inch wide section that's over there. That 15-inch deep section was, when I put it on paper, it's like, oh yeah, I can make it 2 feet, no problem. And then when I started building the benchwork, I realized real quick, yeah, you ain't making that 2 feet wide. If you make it 2 feet wide, you're never going to be able to walk around it. So I had to take a few inches off of it, make it a little bit narrower, and then of course, then that caused all sorts of other grief. So it's one of those things. Putting it on paper is a great idea, because you can waste all the paper and all the time on the computer screen and just
Right.
messing with, until you actually start building the benchwork and putting the track down. That's when you realize, you know what, I can't put that turn out there because there ain't no room for it.
Yeah, because I've been catching myself. I'll take and, like, okay, come up with a whole plan idea in my head. So I'll put that on any rail 6. Well, then I'll adapt that down to a um certain size, and take and print it out, tape the pages together and
Mm-hmm.
everything, take it down there and realize that, well, this section is smaller than, what I think
Yeah,
this that whole section here is going to actually take,
yep,
because I'm planning on a large yard, because
right,
I want at least 14 14 to, well, I know I can't run 25 car trains anymore. I know that because I have too many of everything. But I'm hoping at least to a point of 12 to 14. That way I can get them in the yard, a yard track if I want to put the whole thing in there, if there's another train arriving or whatever.
right.
I need to get that kind of stuff out of the way, obviously, of the main line. But it's,
Yeah.
it's just all kinds of different ideas that you got to take in consideration. You know,
Yeah,
you, you
and the biggest one, the one right off the bat is the area that you're trying to put the railroad into,
hmm
is making sure that that measurement is close, is right on the money. Because if you're sitting there going, well, yeah, I can throw this, 36-inch radius corner over here, and then you put it in, it's like, yeah, that ain't gonna work. I don't have room for 36 inches. I mean, it's funny because if you watch when I do an operating session on this thing, and I build up a freight train of, again, like you said, 12, 14, 15 cars. It takes up 2 tracks in the yard.
hmm
Well, that's going out. When it gets to its destination, it's on the main line, because the yard track where it goes into the yard ain't long enough for it. In fact, there ain't a train. Well, the only train on this layout that'll actually fit in the inbound are some of the passenger trains, the 3-car passenger trains and the RDC pair. Those are the only ones that'll fit on the inbound. Everything else is on the main line when they pull in, which isn't a problem because I'm usually only running one train in either direction at a time anyway. So
right,
it's not a problem, but it's one of those things when we get into having a lot of people, whoever's running those 2 yards is going to be awfully busy. They are going to be busy putting stuff up, taking stuff off, putting stuff up, taking, and that's one of the things. To a point, I wish I had the room to actually expand those yards, make them a little bit bigger. It'll come. It may happen in the future. Probably not going to happen for another 5 years. But you know, having the yards alone with the drawer system that I set up is a heck of a lot better than what I had when I was over at my old house with the 13-foot by 11-foot layout, because really the only things I could run is what was on the layout. I had boxes of stuff underneath, and it was too much of a pain in the butt to bring those out to be able to go through and say, well, gee, I want to run that car, this car, that car, this car. And then you sit there and you start getting into the more, I want to say, the more modern um, grain hoppers and all, the longer ones, the 50-footers. Well, you can't put more than one of those. Well, I couldn't before put more than one of those on a train because it made the train too big.
right. And
It
then
made it
then
made
if
it
then if you try to put it on a siding, it's going to take up that much more track
exactly, exactly.
because I
Yeah,
think I think they almost hang over a 9-inch piece of track.
they're pretty close.
I
They are
mean,
pretty
just like
close.
one of those passenger cars, like you and my have, those
Yeah,
little ones. They take up the piece of 9-inch plus, a little bit over. So
yeah,
you almost got to have at least two pieces of track just for one car.
yeah. Yeah, the passenger, most of the passenger cars that I have are probably 60 to 80 feet
Yeah,
scale.
yeah,
So it's yeah, that becomes it becomes an issue, and it's one of the reasons why it's kind of nice because the city of Beauville, with the passenger tracks underneath, that limits how long those passenger trains can be. And I actually
right.
ran into an issue the other week, not thinking about it. I switched locomotives out. My 4820. What was it? The 4828. The Tuscan GG1 has been having issues. I'm not sure what's going on with it. It seems like it's not getting traction. Everything else runs fine. That's the only locomotive I've got a problem with. So there's something wrong with it. I haven't had a chance to mess with it.
Maybe does it have traction tires? Maybe
it doesn't have traction tires. Okay. But what I decided to do is I put that when pulling the shorter passenger train, which is the old Penn Line passenger cars, and then I turned around and took the F7 AB pair that I've got, and I actually put that on the front of the 5-car streamline train or heavyweight cars. Well, believe it or not, but the F7 AB pair is longer than the GG1. And the tail passenger car, thankfully it's a boat tail. If it was a square end of the car, it would have gotten tagged. I could hear the cars rubbing up against it as it's going into the station. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to take that B unit off. I can't run that train with the B unit. So, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. But it's a determining factor. It's how long do you want your trains? I'm really fascinated with folks like Sparky that can run these massive trains on their layouts.
Especially up even Helix.
Right, exactly. Or Jason, Jason's another one. With the way he's setting things up, I think it's neat to be able to sit there and watch a 20, 25, 30 car train. That's a heck of a lot more realistic. Well, even though I know that, if you're talking short lines like I'm basically, or a bridge route like I'm modeling, they weren't going to have long trains. 10 to 15 cars was probably about all they were going to have. And as far as the passenger side goes, it's the same thing. You're not going to have, 10 car freaking passenger trains. The classic model trains is saying, I want 40 plus cars. Trust me, I think it's neat if you can actually do that. And trust me, and Rodney's seen it when we were up at the train show, the one club, and I think it's an N scale one too, they've got it's like 6 N scale locomotives. It's an ABBBA or something like that. And it's pulling almost 100 hopper cars, coal cars. I think it might be was that the Western Maryland Historical Society, or was that somebody else? If it was the Western Maryland, that's an HO layout, but there is one of them up there that sure. They've got like 100-car coal train behind it. And it's like, wow, to have the space. And of course, now granted, that's a modular layout. When they set that thing up, and Joe Rader, if he's still in here, can help me out here. But if I'm not mistaken, that layout is like 60-some feet long and probably about 10 feet wide. That thing is huge. But to sit there and watch these long coal drags, like I said, the coal drag that I've got on this layout is, I think, 18 cars.
And then, for the guys that actually put all those cars together, they got to make sure the couplers are just right. And because you're dragging all all them cars around the corners or around the curves.
Yeah.
And, you got to wonder how they're not
pulling each other off the track. Right. Exactly.
You definitely got to have them weighed the same and so forth. And if you have any light ones, you better put them in the rear, or you'll end up.
Yeah, you'll end up with a mess.
Yeah, because they won't make it around the corner if they're up front. I learned that a long time ago.
It's one of the things I know, and I don't know if Rick Bailey is still here or not, but he was talking about on his last live stream that he did for me, the night that he took over for me. And that's the other thing. You're right, Joe. They run them very slow.
Probably speed step 1.
But Rick was talking about the fact that that was the shortcomings of the layout that him and John Foltz built. Um, so it's wait. What did I miss? What did I miss? Rail artist. Who hasn't subbed the rail artist? He needs one more sub so he can run a contest. There we go. We gotta get rail artist up there. I don't know I don't know where he's at as far as subs, but okay.
Oh well, I ain't subscribed to him, so I guess I'll be
There you go.
your
There,
one
there
and
we
only.
go. Hey.
Like I said, it's been a while. I haven't even. I mean, I haven't watched too many videos besides some of yours and Ron's trains and things, and a couple of Vinny's and Sparky's, and I mean, I just
How would that be different, Heath, from you doing an unboxing? Sorry, I had to. The funny thing of it is the garage door that I painted today actually dried really quick because it was nice outside. It was actually a little warm.
Okay, I lost my chat. What happened here?
Uh-oh. Oh, Joe. Paint dries faster than a Heath unboxing. There you go. Ouch. Poor Heath. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean it's and we talked about that on my live stream, I think back in July when we were talking about, building the layouts and things of that nature. And well, actually the second live stream that I did in July. If the contest prizes aren't that good, we can.
Okay, what happened here? You're wearing a hat in this live stream, and you're not wearing a hat on that one.
Check your
That's
go
the
live.
wrong one.
Oh,
that must be the wrong one.
or
Yeah,
either that or
this is the beginning of your live.
And there you go. I was going to say hit the live button. It'll jump.
Okay.
Heath is working on a backdrop and retaining wall. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of scenery work, and I'm going to talk about that in the next vlog, but I ran into a bit of an issue over in downtown Beauville where the interurban is. I went to put the tracks back on after I had glued in the incline that I had made for over there and realized that there was one heck of a sag. So if you hit one part of the rails, the other side would bounce up over at Union Station. If you push that side down, then the other side would jump up over where the car barn's going to be. So I had to do some reworking over there, and I haven't had a chance to go back over and see if I actually got the problem fixed. So it is what it is. It's one of those things you think you got it straight, and then well, no, not so much. And it's because of the fact that I changed that incline around a little bit, and that's what caused me the problem. I should have left well enough alone and just left it there and just covered it up and been done with it. Instead, I took it back apart and glued it down, and then created myself a problem when I did that. Yeah, that's exactly what it ended up being. It's a cut and fill. Yeah, it basically sanded down one side and had to fill in the other. Just like the real railroads, you take it out of one side, you put it on the other side. Oh, boy. So, anywho, but wait a minute. What's very true? I can get 4 coats of paint and one of them. Jeez. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Anyway. Sheesh. It's a tough crowd. Acrylic paint or oil paint?
Guess there wasn't no chance of not going off track tonight.
Well, Hey, we've been doing pretty good. We've been talking trains the whole time, pretty much. Sort of. Got off to a
Sort of,
rough
yeah.
start, but hey, acrylic paint or oil paint. I'm not sure what the paint mine was exterior enamel, so that's what mine was. I don't know what Heath's putting up. I would imagine it's probably acrylics. That's what I would use for a backdrop. That's just me. Um, I'm different. No comment, Rodney. Oh,
Well,
jeez.
my backdrops is basically, I mean, they could be anything from, pieces of old paneling, turned so the actual panel. Oh, bleh, okay, the paneling part is, back against your trains or whatever, and the flat brown part is
Right,
out, to put your sky or
right,
whatever on.
right.
Dad and I, we just basically used whatever we had laying around, whatever we had available. Now
I had to. OTR ain't right in the head just like the rest of us. That's because Heath has been in his room painting, gluing his backdrop. That's where that came from. Yeah, I hear you, that rail artist. I wasn't sure what you were where you were going with the acrylic, and I know I've become a big fan of the acrylics. If you've watched the couple of builds that I've done, those were all done with acrylic paint. I tell you what, that stuff is so easy to work with. The cleanup is really because it's all water based, which is really good for me too because I'm on septic. I don't have anywhere to get rid of. I mean, I could go ahead. Of course, I found out the other day if I take my stuff to the dump, I can only take 20 gallons of paint to the dump at a time. Um, but I don't like using the oil-based paints because of the fact that the fumes and everything else. You know, it just doesn't. It just doesn't. I'd rather work with the acrylics. And you just brought up something. If you've been watching here recently, I was talking about backdrops on this thing. I've got one piece of masonite that I was using for a test. I am actually working on getting. I need 2 sheets to be able to put up the backdrop, the main part of the backdrop on this side. The side where Beauville is actually going to be foam core because of the fact that I have to be able to move part of it. So we are sidetrack square
uh,
called side. It's
foam
expected to be.
core, is that like the poster board that you buy for?
Yeah,
Okay, okay, because I got a bunch of that. I wasn't sure exactly.
yeah. I mainly use I mainly use the foam core, and you have to watch it because I found out I didn't realize this that there's multiple thicknesses of foam core, and I've actually got 2 different thicknesses of the stuff. But I mainly use that for the roads and for foundations for buildings. That's mainly what I use the foam core for. And like I said, because of the fact that Beauville's backdrop needs to be somewhat removable, I didn't want to build that out of masonite. I just think
Right.
it's going to be too tedious and too hard to work with. So I'm probably going to make that out of foam core. But yeah,
Yeah, because I use a lot of that poster board for backdrops and everything. If I just want a wall there somewhere.
I was waiting for it, Heath. As much as I was picking on you, I was waiting for it. Exactly, rail artist, and that's where I got some of mine from. My wife's stepfather was married to I guess for lack of a better term, a garage artist. Um, she did a lot of artwork, and she had quite a bit of foam core floating around. So I got a hold of quite a bit of that when he passed away, because he never got rid of any of it after she passed away. So that was his second wife. He never got rid of any of her stuff when she passed. So when he passed, we had to clean out the house, and was like, wow, all this, all this, all this foam core, great, I can use that. Not realizing that that what she had was thinner than what I had bought at one point in time, and it was like, okay. So what is turn on your spray booth to suck up the fumes? Okay. Let's see.
When Dad was still alive, him and Mom would go to the dollar store or the Dollar General, whichever one it was, and buy that foam core poster board stuff $1 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to bring me a whole stack of it home, at a time when they
Right.
went to the dollar store and stuff. So
Yep.
I've got a fair amount. I could make backdrops if I wanted to, or even I could even cut it in strips and actually use it as road bed if I wanted to.
Yeah. I
I
had
mean,
actually thought about doing it at one point in time, using the foam core for road bed, but the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, maybe I won't.
but I got to a point where I'm using screws in my track rather than nails, because I'm one of those people that was always used to going right to the plywood.
Right. Yep.
So therefore, trying to put one of those little track nails in plywood, that don't work.
You got to be really good with it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you'll be cracking some ties apart.
Yeah. Foam core won't warp with acrylic house paint. Don't use oils on foam core. It causes it to wrinkle and warp. The funny thing of it is I actually had issues with some latex paint that I used underneath of Union Station that actually did warp the foam core. I had to sit there and kind of massage it the back. And that's one of the nice things with foam core, though, is the fact that you could massage it, across your leg or across the edge of the desk or something to get it flattened back out. So it didn't hurt it. But yeah, it was kind of like when I got done, I'm sitting there looking at it and it's like this, and I'm like, gosh darn it. But
And I also want to mention a little tip. If you want a real rock or stone feature for your scenery, driveway stones, or the little rocks that you can buy at the art store and
okay.
all that. You, I was trying to hot glue them together. The hot glue will not really hold them, strong. But if you put a little bit of like liquid nails for projects on them, you know, you can caulk them together real
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
If you go back to some of my older videos, you'll see some of those stone, the driveway stone
Right.
things that I did.
You're not talking pea gravel. You're talking the other type.
Actual stone that they tailgate off of
Okay.
a dump truck.
Right. And you're right out rail artist. I've got a bunch of the dollar stores, just like Rodney was talking about. I do have a bunch of the dollar stores type foam core, which does warp when you paint it. Like
which
I
the
said,
kid which the kids actually use for school projects, but
right.
us model railroaders use them as sort of a
Right.
school project,
we're
railroad
just
school.
we're just kids that never grew up, that just unfortunately grew old. We never grew up. We just grew old.
Right. I mean, just like after 32 years, which was this year was my 32nd year behind the wheel of a race car. Believe it or not, I started when I was 16.
Nice.
So um, I'm still living a childhood's dream because that's all I talked about when I was a kid, driving a race car. I never
Right.
wanted to be a plumber, an astronaut, a lawyer, a doctor, none of that. Like other kids, changed it, you know, every other week or whatever. Well, all I said was a race car driver.
Rodney's 32.
No, I'm kind of older than that. I can't remember when I was 32, but
and somebody had mentioned or asked earlier, and I'm not sure if they're still in the chat or not. And I'm sorry we didn't get that, we missed it when you posted it. But Rodney does dirt track racing, correct?
yes.
Yep. Stock that basically stock old stock cars that have just been put on dirt, or
Um, Ours is what they call a hobby stock. Now it's not it back in when I started, it was just a old street car off the road with just a motor in it from a junkyard or from the street. It didn't matter, what was wrong with it or whatever. You just went out until some of them went out till they blew it up. Some of them did work to them.
right,
It was basically old pieces of metal water pipe, just welded together as a roll cage. We didn't have a full roll cage back then. We just had a couple bars behind us with our seat and a couple bars in the doors in case we got hit. But it was all welded, in.
so there you go, Train Fan. I hopefully he answered your question. I think it was Train Fan that asked it originally, and he
I
just asked it
believe it
again.
was.
Yep, he just asked it again. So there you go. There you go.
But now we've got a full roll cage, and we've got bars coming off the main roll cage out into our hood area around our motor, in front of our radiator, and so forth. If we run like I want to say they're like a plastic rubber type front end piece that goes over where our bumpers would be originally be. You can take the front bumper off, weld yourself a set of bars from your front roll cage part, and have the front end go on there, and then you just rivet it fast. Same way on the back bumper, you can leave the back bumper on and just put the two pieces of back bumper cover on it to make
Gotcha.
it look like a race car.
Gotcha.
Because I'm not seeing too many people with open bumpers here lately. They're either aluminum bodies or they're still running a steel body like me off the road. Now, aluminum body, one versus the other, one's going to be lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Where a steel body, you're still carrying weight, which
Right.
in a way is good if you got the car gutted down as much as you can. That makes your car weight when you go over the scales.
Right.
Where they might have to run big pieces of lead in different places on their car to make their weight.
Right.
So plus we get weighed with the driver, so you figure I weigh 220, something like that. So I got to add that in with the car weight, if I ever had the car scaled.
Right.
and because it's got to be weighed with a driver,
Mm-hmm.
whoever's driving the car. So if you switch drivers and you want a different weight, then you obviously got to take that driver with your car over and get it rescaled to make sure the weight didn't, because we got a weight limit or a minimum, I think, of 3,000. No, not 3,000. Yeah, 3,000. I'm right on that. 3,000. So I'm probably overweight because I still have door hinges on the doors. My doors are bolted rather than welded, which I kind of like better, because if you ever have to remove the door and replace the door, you get in there and take the bolt out
Mm-hmm.
and unlock your door. You leave the door lock in, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
so everything works inside there, and you can open the door, take it off the hinges or whatever, and put your new door on. Where a lot of them they're just pieces of aluminum hanging off the roll cage or whatever nowadays. So, but I'm trying to keep mine under a budget,
Right. Right.
and run what I have and what I have available
Right.
versus fast fast motors and sponsors and
You're just out there to have
you know,
fun.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm keeping my dad's legacy alive because he liked auto racing. He pit crewed for a guy up here in Hagerstown that owned a radiator and um I'm not sure what it is, the other part of it, but he pit crewed for him and they won the 1965 championship. So my dad was in that picture, of that championship year.
Gotcha.
So he never actually drove a race car. He was just a pit crewman. But when as I got older through school, all I wanted to be was a race car driver. At 16, I drove my first what they called an enduro car back then. It was where you or Heath or anybody could just get a helmet and crawl in the car and drive a race car. It was an enduro race.
So Container Man was
So
asking if it was on dirt or asphalt, and
no,
I know that.
I was always told asphalt's for getting there.
Yeah.
That's what I was always told from when I was growing up.
And then he
Dirt.
stood there saying that we could all sponsor you. My pockets ain't that deep.
No, it's hard to find sponsors, or less you have somebody that wants you know you to drive for them, that owns like a construction business or a junkyard or some big major outfit. You know, I have small sponsors, but their name's not on my car because they're not paying me nothing. I mean, they're supposed to be on there, but because I'm a running billboard is what I call myself. But
Right, exactly.
it's just
Sidetracks on the
helping
race
them.
car. Sidetracks on the race car. Night Ray at the Golden Leaf. uh, well, I hate to break it to you, Rodney, but I've been at this for an hour and a half, and I got to get some
Yeah, I
sleep.
see that.
Yeah, I got a long day ahead of me tomorrow.
Yeah, I lost track of time actually. Last time I looked at the clock, it was 8 something. I'm like,
Yeah, I just happened to look down. I was seeing people leaving. I'm like, oh man, what time is it? Oh, it's 9:30. So yeah, I did. Like I said, I gotta get going here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta get to work tomorrow, and yeah, all the fun stuff, all of the fun stuff. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Thank you, Santa Fe Bob.
Hey, Santa Fe Bob, thank you, sir. I appreciate everybody being in here. Rodney, I appreciate you hopping up here, but it's been since May when I saw you last.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. It
Yeah.
has been a
I
while.
yeah, we haven't seen each other since Strasbourg. Or
Right.
actually your house after Strasbourg.
Yeah, I had a straggler. He was following me down here.
Yeah, the amazing thing is, I thought, well, I know I'm going to get lost. He knows where he's going, but I was afraid that we might get, traffic or something in between us somewhere.
Yep.
So I gave him a little handheld radio. Well, it went dead soon as he tried to talk on. I thought, well, and then I started seeing, one of these deals, all these hand signals. I'm like, okay, here we go.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I know, Artie. I'll try to catch up with you tomorrow night, man. Uh, so, anywho, but yeah.
yes,
So,
it's been fun.
yeah, I'm glad. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's always more fun when there's somebody else up here, but
Well, just text me anytime. I mean,
John, I will definitely do that. I will have to. If you want, if you're on a PC, watching the show, you can actually go over to my YouTube channel. My email account is there. Actually, you know what? I'll do one better here. I'll do this real quick. Um, Actually, I didn't need to go that far. Let's just do this. And then the way if you once you see it, John, let me know and I will pull it back down. Actually, it would help if I could type and spell because obviously I can't. Let me know when you got it there, John. It's a really easy one. But yeah, I enjoyed this, Rodney, and like I said, I apologize for not catching up with you on the whole layout thing. Like I said, I have just been crazy, stupid busy,
yeah,
between the
I
house
figure
and
you
work.
have been because sometimes you get back to me right away. Sometimes it's like 2 days later.
Yeah, we've been I've been for the last 3 weeks. I've been fighting an issue at work that we still haven't been able to figure out, and it's been driving me nuts. So I mean, like I said, with everything else that's going on, then I had that, and I've been dealing with that, and it's just been like I said. By the time I get done, I just want to relax. I'm done. I'm like I just want to veg, go into my own little corner someplace, and just be done. But did you get it, John? I don't know if John's still here. Happy Valley Hobbies made it in.
We talk about John.
Benaki.
Okay.
I think that's
Uh,
how he pronounces his last name.
yeah,
I'm probably butchering the living heck out of that. Uh,
yeah. His name's up above
all right, good.
the link, but okay, there he is. Said he got it.
Yep, I'm trying to get. I'm trying to figure out how to remove that.
Well, with this on my phone, it's because it's YouTube. It's lagging a little bit behind the StreamYards.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I noticed that.
I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of that off of there now.
Oh, the sidetrack.
No, the email thing.
Oh.
No, that's not what I wanted. I was trying to. There we go. Hopefully I'm getting down here to the bottom and I can hopefully maybe delete it via YouTube. Sorry about that. Yeah, I just happened to see that message there, Roy. Yeah, I do work from home, but I still have to get up and there we go. Remove message. Yay! I removed it. I had to do it through YouTube. All right, I'll have to remember that in the future. Yes, Roy, I do work from home, but yeah, it's still. I gotta. I've got a I start work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So
My problem, if I lived where you are right now, Ray, I would
yeah.
have a problem coming down the steps and not going straight to the railroad.
Oh, trust me, it's funny. Here it is a while back. We had this newsletter that came out for work, and it actually got in there that I've got the YouTube thing going on and that I do the model railroading. Well, right after that, we had a meeting with our big boss, and of course, somebody was like, "Ray, you need to turn the camera around. You need to turn the camera." I'm like, or actually, no, I was. Where was it? Oh no, I was sitting on the. I was using the kitchen table down here, and they were like, "Come on, Ray, you got to show it. You got to." I'm like, "All right." So I picked up the camera and turned it so they could see what was beside me. And of course, our big boss is like, "My grandson would love to see what you got going on down there." Can I forward all my telco? Thanks, OTR. No. So, any rate, yeah, that was a blast. So now it's like every time I was on one not that long ago, and the big boss, hey Ray, I see you're on here. How's the railroad going? Where is it? I don't see it anymore. I'm like, it's still here. It's still here.
I folded it up into the briefcase.
Yeah, right, exactly. That would be Heath's. That would be the Z scale that you could put in the briefcase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see Heath going to work right now. He probably folds that up like the Jetsons do and goes to work in his little spaceship and folds it up and takes both briefcases in. Yeah.
Oh, I'm terrible. Anyway, I have the address too for you. Thanks, guys. Sheesh. I feel the love in this chat. I tell you what. Anyway, folks, Rodney, again, I appreciate you coming up here on panel with me, sir. It's been a while. I will get to whatever you've been sending me eventually. I'll take a look at it and see what you got. But, folks, have a good week. Be safe out there. You all know the deal. Wait for the highball. Green tracks ahead. Be safe. God bless. We will catch you all next time. We will see you. Jason has Sidetrack Sunday next week. See ya.